Did your friend offer you a pick-me-up pill? If you take medication that didn't come from a pharmacy, it's important to test it for fentanyl. Fentanyl can be hiding anywhere. Pick up a test strip at your local pharmacy today and protect yourself from hidden fentanyl.
As fun as sports talk right here on WQEE. I say fun because it is. You've never heard a show like it because we make the listeners a part of the show. Every day between noon and 2 p.m. Eastern, you'll hear plenty of the best sports talk, including the latest on the Falcons, the Braves, and more. And who knows, you might even hear you. That's the Rod Peterson Show, daily at noon, right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
Listen to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge, Monday through Friday, now from 2 to 3 p.m. on WQEE 99.1 FM The Key. Join myself and my broadcast partner and co-host Corey Bank as we recap all the latest updates in and around Columbus, Georgia, and beyond, covering all the local sports in Columbus to include high school football and basketball, the Columbus River Dragons, the Columbus Rapids, the Columbus Lions, Columbus Chattahoots, and Columbus State Cougars and Lady Cougars. So listen to the Sports Beat with Richard Holdridge on your home for Southern Sports, WQEE 99.1 FM The Key.
Hey sports fans, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, drive time on WQEE. Braves Country is a Southern sports talk show with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. That's Braves Country with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. Weekdays 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. right here on WQEE 99.1 FM.
Christie's Cafe, 27 Jackson Street here in Newnan, serving breakfast all day long with new business hours, Wednesday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., Sundays, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Place that takeout order online at christies-cafe.square.site. And for the weekends, get placed on the wait list. It's Christie's Cafe, 27 Jackson Street here in the metro Atlanta area of Newnan, 770-683-7512. Too good.
Join your Columbus River Dragons for a New Year's Eve celebration on Saturday, December 31st at 7:30 p.m. as the River Dragons take on the Mississippi Sea Wolves. Start your celebration early and cheer the River Dragons on to victory with a special ticket deal. 3 seats for just $22. Available only through the River Dragons office. Call us at 706-507-4625. That's 706-507-GOAL. Columbus River Dragons Hockey. Get fired up.
This is Austin Black, and I am the host of Behind the Tunes. Have you ever wondered about the stories behind your favorite songs and the journeys of those that sing them? Well, each week we invite you to go behind the tunes and step into the stories behind your favorite Christian artists that shape the landscape of today's music.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and catch the bus. Text and miss your stop. Wait. Text and be late to work. Sorry, I'm late. Text and work. Text and pretend to work. Text and act surprised when someone calls you out for not working.
Who, me?
Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi. Oh, hey.
Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Connecting Hearts. Connecting hearts of women to resources, information, and to one another. Presented by Creative Heart Studios, 18 Perry Street and Newnan. Now here's your host, Margie Conway.
Hi, I am Margie Conway, the Joy Coordinator for Creative Hearts Studios, and this is the Connecting Hearts Network broadcast. We're setting a little close today because we want to be on the live that Amy is doing on her page, and we have Amy Elizabeth Oliver. She is the founder of Connect and Cre8. Connect and Cre8 caught my attention when I was looking through Coweta Forest things. They would talk about their art therapy they had the third Tuesday of every month, and I'm like, I wonder who's doing that and what they're doing, and I started looking. Then I connected with Amy. I saw who was doing it. I liked her page, and she started popping up on my timeline. So, it's another one of these God connections, because I saw that. I was like, I need to meet her. So I reached out to her, and here we are about a week later. So thank you for coming on today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is a great opportunity. Thank you.
Tell us a little bit just about you, about who you are. Before we get too much into Connect and Cre8, tell us a little bit about you.
So I am a person in recovery. My name's Amy Elizabeth Oliver, and what that means to me, if you're not in recovery, with that being said, I think everyone's in recovery from something. It doesn't have to be a substance. It could be overeating. It could be shopping. It could be gambling. I mean, there's thousands and millions of things that everyone in this world is in recovery for. I was in recovery for substance, and in recovery for about 6 years. And through that walk, it led me to Coweta Forest.
Okay.
Which was a huge part of my recovery. Hank Arnold, he comes rolling up into family treatment court, which is an extension of drug court and DUI court, and he was just so excited and so happy talking about recovery, and I'm thinking, who is this dude? He's crazy. Because at that time I was still so ashamed, and I didn't have my voice. I didn't know that people even talked about it. I mean, it was looked down on. You're punished for you're dirty or something, if you're in recovery.
We're all about sharing your story. Where you share your story is where you get your power back and you help other people. So we're all about that. And Hank is a dynamo, because we did a car show with him not long ago. And after hearing about him for months, I actually had a conversation with him and we talked. So we're going to try to get together some in the new year to do things.
Oh, good. He's hard to nail down. He's a busy man, and his wife is beautiful. Yeah, he is a perfect example of what recovery looks like. And with that being said, he became kind of a role model to me. And I started going to groups there for NA and AA and Celebrate Recovery, and that's where I started regaining my my self-esteem. And I realized I wasn't alone. I realized that there's a million people out there struggling with the same things that I was, and they're still ashamed. And in that process, I was led to Change Church, which is my home church. And our motto is changed lives, changing lives. We are Change Church, and it's come as you are. And when you say come as you are, it's the only church that I've ever been to where you can come as you are. Against my better wishes, or my daughter even has gone in her pajamas before on Wednesday nights. So come as you are. And I've never had anyone love on me the way they loved on me. And I was able to connect with women through our women's ministry that are my lifelines now. The Lord is my number one lifeline.
Absolutely.
He is the knot when I'm at the end of my rope. And he's the knot before I'm at the end of my rope. Sometimes I just miss him because I let go. He's always with me. I'm the one that lets go. But I'm grateful that there's more knots that I have to grab onto, to hold on to my life. And for so many years, I was silenced by fear.
Right.
And when I found Christ and truly, truly surrendered and submitted to Him, my life started changing drastically. And I spent so many years negative, blaming everyone else for all of my problems. It's my calling, I believe, to shout out to the world and to tell the world what He's done for me in my life, because without Him, my recovery would still be a mess. I wouldn't even be in recovery without Him. I could go to 1 million NA meetings. I could go to 1 million AA meetings. I could make 1 million bracelets like I make for Connect and Cre8. But without Him, He is the core of my recovery. He is the only thing that truly keeps it together and moving forward, because He keeps His promises.
That's it. And you brought up several points that I want to go to. First of all, you were ashamed of things and you didn't know that you could speak out about it and that people spoke out about it. And you said you used to always feel alone. I've illustrated that through my stories here. You know, I stayed silent for 50 years about the things I'd gone through, and especially putting the babies up for adoption. And until you go to a room where there's other people that have been there, then you feel alone in it. Because I remember my husband and my daughter was trying so hard to help me when I was breaking down, but they had no clue.
Right.
And used to before that, I would say, you go into a support group, y'all going to sit there and whine and be negative about anything. I ain't doing none of that. I don't need it. But I have found the value.
Right. I didn't even know anything about AA.
Yeah.
I was, the way I was raised was very much of you do what I say, when I say, where I say, why I say, and how I say. And it's very black and white. It's either this way or it's no way.
Right.
And with that being said, also, my family, they did everything that they could for me. And without them, I wouldn't be here either, because they fought for me.
Right.
During that time, I didn't realize they were fighting for me.
Right.
I thought they were against me.
Right.
But they were desperate because they didn't know what to do with me. They weren't familiar with addiction. They weren't familiar with what I was going through,
Right.
and they didn't even know who to talk to.
Well, and that's true too, because we have talked about, I grew up in a home with alcohol and drugs. I married into it. I've had other family members that's experienced it, and where you're talking about going to rehabs and going to all this, I've had family members in all these different areas. And honestly, my dad, every time he would get in trouble, we would go to some small church somewhere and he'd get saved again. So when he went to court, he could tell everybody he was different, but it didn't last very long. You can't truly make a recovery, whether it's from abuse, from violence, from what you've done yourself. Abortion, I know that's been a big topic in some of our groups lately, or drugs or alcohol, without Christ. Christ is it. He's the foundation and core of it, right?
That is correct. He is the number one ingredient of my recovery. Now, locally, I've been so blessed to be able to have people that believe in me.
Yes.
They've been through it, and because they shared their story and they weren't ashamed anymore, it gave me the courage throughout. Now, don't get me wrong, I beat myself up. That's one of my character defects, I guess, if you will.
Flesh patterns.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
very
our
much
flesh patterns.
so. And I can revert back into that isolation. I can revert back into I'm not good enough, or I'll never be good enough. But I can recognize it now because of the things. And then not only that, my core people that love me for who I am, where I am, even when I still make mistakes, because I'm not perfect. I still backslide. I still get, those negative thoughts, and I still doubt myself. They love me still. And even though if they're not supporting me or enabling me, rather, with what I'm doing, they're calling me out because they are real good, true girlfriends of mine. Good. And it took me going out on a limb, because trust is a huge thing for me. And I say for me, and it's for everybody, I think, because everyone's been burned by somebody.
I didn't trust anybody. I had so many walls up, it was not funny. I think I've been married 21 years, and it probably took him 15 to get his foot in the door pretty good, and it's, or at least that much before I stopped packing my bags every week. and well, it's true, because I had a flight or fight pattern, and I flew. I wasn't putting up with any of it anymore. He knows it, and yes, poor Ricky. That's what we were talking about. Poor Ricky. And Ricky, if he's listening, which he often does, he will be like, they know it.
It's funny because mine is, his name's Ricky too, and he's sitting right there laughing when you're saying poor Ricky. I feel the same way.
Well, I tell everybody, my Ricky did not know what was hitting him. God played a tremendous joke on him. It's like even Christmas Eve at service, and we're getting off, so don't let me go too far down this rabbit trail. But even Christmas Eve at the candlelight service, Margie was real excited about the new battery-operated candles I bought to decorate the front of the church with, but I forgot to buy batteries. So I sent Ricky at 15 minutes before the service to go off and buy like 36 AAA batteries, and he's flying down the road going. And then me and somebody else had the idea the little tea lights already had batteries, so I could just set them down in the bigger ones, and they looked like they were lit right. And William was like, I wonder why he was doing that. I said, well, call Ricky real fast and get him back. And so he said, I don't have my phone. So then I had to find my purse because I couldn't find where I put my purse. And I called Ricky, and I'm telling people when I walk by, and you know, it's a smaller church. They're used to me. I said, y'all pray. And one of the ladies, she said, maybe we should pray for you. I said, no, because even if he shoots me, I know I'm going to be all right. But if you pray for him, he's not going to want to shoot me. So poor Ricky, God just threw me into his path, and he's been recovering ever since. But one thing else that you topped on is you didn't realize how loved you were. And you had to feel the love and things to be able to do that. I used to think love was a dirty word. That was one of those 4-letter words people manipulated people with, and I did not. I even told somebody after church, after I'd gone through all my healing, I said, used to I'd tell you I love you because I'm supposed to tell you that. I said, but now if I say it, I mean it.
Right.
Because when I went through all that counseling and all that training, they wanted me at the end to come out with this big epiphany about all these things I'd been through. But my big epiphany and the whole thing that I went through, I got a new definition of what love was. You know, I loved Christ and things, but I didn't fully trust him either until surrender. Because you brought that up too. It's not just allowing him into your life. You have to surrender.
Every day.
Yeah,
every
absolutely.
single day. And for me, multiple times a day, literally.
Yes.
And ironically, my word, I choose a word. Well, I choose it, but I feel like the Lord gives me a word. And if I'm staying in tune, then I will receive it. And for 2022, the word that's above my doorway when you come out, when my front door is surrender. I painted, let go, let God, you know, all of those things. But it's a huge painting on a panel board, and it's above my door. And let me just tell you this: when you choose your word or decide that's the word that you want to ponder and want to really meditate on and pray over and work on throughout the year, girl, mean it. Because
absolutely.
Whenever I chose surrender and the Lord chose surrender for me, everything that could have fallen apart tried to fall apart.
Oh,
in
right.
2022.
Absolutely, yeah.
And what it was the Lord. He was, I don't know if he's testing me or I'm testing him or what it was, but I was learning.
Yeah.
Because I saw his hand in every single failure, every disappointment. And it was one of those things where I would start trying to control again and it would control my brain.
Right.
And it was taking me down. It was taking my family down because I couldn't let it go and let God, which was my word. I'm happy to say that this Christmas I had my son with me who's been in some trouble.
I saw your pictures. They were wonderful.
And that's the only thing I've been praying for is for him. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to teach him the skills that I learned in family treatment court. He was already grown pretty much. He's 22, out of the house. And so he's got himself in trouble. And I want to beat myself up occasionally over it. But every time I let go, and my group of girls, my church, my Ricky, my daughter, my family, they have been encouraging, and we prayed so hard, and he was here for 2 days. I only got him for 2 days, and he's still in a lot of trouble, but my prayers have also been answered because he's got the opportunity to do a drug court over in Greene County to be able to not have the charges that he has on his record. And I'm being like super transparent. I don't really talk about this, but because it is such a huge part of my life.
Right.
And I never thought in a million years I would pray, the happiest mom ever, to find out that my son was going to get to go to court.
I understand that. and it's like you're talking about people loved you and they tried to help you, and sometimes you felt like they were fighting you.
Correct.
Sometimes we do have to fight them to help them. We have had in our problems, we have had sons who have had problems with drugs and alcohol, and they have gone through a lot of things that I wish they didn't have to go through. Right. But I understand being happy that they get to go to drug court because we had one in that situation.
Right.
I can tell you that I do know for sure that when we pray to God and God makes promises to us, that he does keep them. Mm-hmm. And so even though it takes a while sometimes with these children to come around, they do come around.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And really I'm just praying for a hedge of protection around, you know, anyone that I love.
Right.
The times that we live in right now can be super negative, and everything. And I quit watching TV 2 years ago, so I don't really watch TV now. I watch Heartland with my daughter. That's our snuggle time, and our mommy-daughter quality time. And I used to watch it with my mother, who's passed away 11 years ago. But the world can consume us, and everything we put in us, whether it's the radio station we listen to, whether it's the people that we're around,
Absolutely.
it's the books that we read, it's the media that we're seeing, it's our friends. Whatever's going in is going to come out of us.
Absolutely.
And so I constantly am surrounding myself and trying to build up. If I'm not getting lifted up, and if it's not positive, I'm having to walk away from it or love it from a distance and get it out. And every time I do that, and it takes courage to do that,
it does,
sometimes,
yes.
but every time I do that, the Lord fills that empty space
Absolutely.
10 times fold. Every single time He has, without failure. His promises have been over and above what I even had asked for. Even
absolutely.
Even getting clean and sobriety, begging, don't let me do this, don't let me feel this way. I mean, it's just like every single thing that I prayed for, as long as I stayed obedient and I stayed faithful and I stayed transparent and I continued to talk and tell people, because it loses its power that way.
Absolutely. And we talk about that big time at the center and over in the work that we do. We deal with women who have been through domestic violence and some horrible situations. But once we start sharing it, it loses its power. And that's how I ended up doing all this. It's when I started sharing it, people started coming forward. So then I was able to use what I had and help other people do it. And that's exactly what the Bible tells you to do, is comfort people with the way you've been comforted.
Right.
And it's necessary that we do that to be able, first of all, it turns what Satan meant for evil, it turns it good.
Yeah, there's a purpose for our pain.
There is a purpose.
All the pain that we're going through, and even the valleys, the hard, the storms, if we continue to look for the purpose, if we continue to look for God's hand in every single thing, even the ugly stuff, the waiting time that I've had to wait, it was 12 months since I've seen my son. And I went about it the wrong way, trying to control it. I had everything set up when he first got his charges. Well, you can go to this program, and the judge and the DA, like, I'm all over it. Like, I'm like just completely all over it, trying to, and he's like, no, Mom, I don't have a problem, but until he had to go, I was robbing him of learning his lessons that God intended him to learn.
Right.
So I had to take myself out of that. And the minute I did is whenever things started falling into place. And way
that's
better.
Not easy.
It's
not easy. It's the hardest thing to do, to let go. And that, even this Christmas, that was brought to my attention. It was a young guy who has been called to preach at church that did a Sunday school lesson, and then it was in an in-depth women's conference that I went to, and it was talking about, we do this when we pray. When I pray with the little kids, I do this. They know that means pray. And a lot of times we have our hands clutched to us, and instead of opening them up in surrender and worship and saying, it's yours, we're saying, okay, God, please take care of this, but I'm still clutching it. I'm still holding on to it. Just give me that little bit of peace and let me be in control of it. But once we open that up and we open our hearts up to that, it is totally when things turn around.
Yeah. And when you can find gratitude in everything and anything, because if you can't be grateful for where you are, even if it's ugly and don't look exactly how you thought it was going to look in that moment, if you still can't be grateful for that, why would the Lord or anyone give you anything else if you can't be grateful for what you have? I mean, I was living out of my car 5 years ago at the pilot station for a few weeks. I mean, wasted out of my skull, just and I'm blessed today to have a roof over my head and to have a safe place for my son to come and for my daughter to be able to homeschool her. Yeah. The Lord put on my heart very loudly and strongly almost 2 years ago. I was taking her to Camp Rockbridge, and it was like an outer body experience. That's the only way I can explain it to you, because I was driving, but I do not know how I got home that day. And I dropped her off at Camp Rockbridge, and it was just, she's watching you. She sees you. Be who you want her to be.
Right.
Do what you want her to do. Lead by example. She sees everything you're doing. And from that moment forward, things started changing even faster.
Right.
For me, because I felt the urgency, if you will, of it. Because she's 11, but she don't
Right.
look 11. She look like she's about 18.
Yeah, she does.
And I'm 48, and
Yeah.
I don't want to catch charges. I've never caught a charge before, but I'll catch a charge for her.
Absolutely.
And so I don't want to ever have to do that.
And and that's with that's one of the reasons why I do what I do. I did not have a drug and alcohol problem. I think it's one of those cases I saw my mom and dad do it, so I didn't do it. I had control issues, and I had trust issues, and I had shut down issues, and fleeing issues, obviously. And my daughter learned all that.
Yes.
She learned that from growing up to see me, so now I'm trying to show her you don't have to be that way. Right. And we have a painting in my office that I got my daughter and my granddaughter and myself to do. And I'm finally over at the spot where it's all hanging out and there's all the colors and everything's going wild. But my daughter's still in her spot where she's tied up. She's still struggling with control and all these things. And my granddaughter's painting is showing she's got that mute background, everything, but that wild and crazy person's trying to come out, but she mutes it for everybody. And so it's important to me to show them that, first of all, when it comes to domestic violence and abuse, you do not have to tolerate it. Here's what it looks like. 1 second, put up with it. And I said that was first of all, and that's not first of all. Following Christ is first of all, having Christ in your heart. And following him and being open and surrender. And then those things, that's what I want to teach them. I'm teaching them to other women, but I want mine to see it.
Yeah, through example, leading them through example. And this has been laid on my heart too, and I've shared it with a handful of women, that when are we going to start telling the girls, and not just the girls, even the young boys, that it's okay to say no?
Absolutely.
Why do you have to say yes all the time? I didn't know that I could say no.
Right.
And it wasn't because I just didn't know it was okay.
For you.
Right.
Yeah,
correct.
your decisions were made for you.
I didn't even trust myself either.
Right.
And so when I learned how to say no and ask myself, Amy, is this really something that you want to do, or are you going to be doing it for someone else? Are you doing it for the right reasons? Is it something that the Lord wants you to do? Is it, But when I started asking myself that question, before answering, things started changing as well. Yeah. Do I really want to do this? Is this something that feels good, that I want to do in my heart? I mean, not to my flesh feels good, but feels good to my soul.
Right.
And is it becoming of Christ? Things started changing, and it's okay to say no, ladies. It's
Absolutely.
okay, girls, to say no. You don't have to fit in. The Lord gave us a fingerprint. Every single person in this world has a fingerprint that is
unique, different,
and that is on its own.
Yeah.
No one else's matches. That's how you identify who you are, if you want to look up anyone in the court records. And with that fingerprint, we're all given gifts from the Lord. And it's our duty, it's our calling, it's our purpose to use that gift, because that gift no one else has. You can reach people and you can connect with people that I can't. I can with people you can't. But no one's going to connect if we don't start talking about the real issues.
That's
and then
it.
we got to talk to our children about real issues about, and not candy coat things for them.
Absolutely, I
We
agree.
got to teach them to say no. It's okay to say no. You don't have to fit in. You were not born to fit in. You were born to stand out.
Well, if you think how many generations it took to get your DNA to be your DNA, so that fingerprint was the way it is, God designed you with a purpose and a plan, and it is nobody else's. Nobody else can step into your place. No one else can do what you do the way that you do it.
That is right.
Yeah.
And it takes a tribe, a community, a village. It takes all of us to use our gifts and to bring everyone in and to shout it out from the rooftop.
You got it. And I'm going to touch on another thing you said, is you were talking about you had negative thoughts in your mind and you would have to bring them around. You'd transform them under Christ. And there's a lot of talk now about mindset. And mindset's important because we need to set our minds on the positive and on our goals and what's there, but it needs to be a heart set issue where it's what's coming from God is what we're setting our minds on. So we need to be transforming that daily and bringing it under submission to God. And surrender. And that's not something that a lot of people know how to do.
Right. Yes, I didn't know how to do. In fact, I'm still learning, because every time a new situation comes into my life that I'm approached with, or that I'm made aware of. It's a new challenge for me to surrender, and that's what I look at it as, opportunity. Because if I just show up, even if I don't want to come, if I'm not feeling like it, if I just show up, and if I have good intentions as far as the Lord, every day, Lord, use me. I am yours. You are mine. Let me be your instrument. Take control over my voice and get whatever you want out there. This is what I'm here for.
Right.
I'm completely, totally yours every single day. Let me be the vessel that you need. Because when I try and do it, I mess everything up.
I do that all the time. And it's every time. My word of the, and that's one thing about transparency is if I mess up, I'm going to tell you, because, everybody messes up. None of us are perfect. That's why we need a perfect Christ. When you were talking about word of the year, mine last year for 2022 was wholeheartedly. And it was like, okay, what God brings to me is what I'm going to do. And that's how I ended up here on the radio, because he wandered into our shop one day and said, is there any women who would like to make a radio show? Do you know anybody? And it's like, God just gave me a shove and pushed me out there. And I'm like, I don't want a radio program. But apparently I did. So I can go back and trace now that I couldn't then. When I was 15 years old, I was in a college mentoring class, and they did an aptitude test, and they put me in radio and TV broadcasting. Wow. And I'm like, a friend of mine from high school reminded me of that not long ago, and I'm like, God has orchestrated that through things to put me on the radio. And one of the reasons is because he brings these extraordinary guests like you into my path so that we can share stories. Another, and part of that is exactly kind of what I knew was going to happen today, is we're almost at the end of our time, and we have not even mentioned Connect and Cre8 except in the introduction.
That's because it's not really about him, it's about the Lord. See, it's on my shirt. It's the coincidences is marked out.
Right.
It's God instances.
Yes.
Because he puts people in your path. But because of my recovery and because of Hank Arnold and Jay Gardner, he owns Torn Pages, T.J. Boyd. I could go on and on and on. Rick Bosman. I call him Bossman. But, I mean, every single person he placed in my path was purposely and intentional. Right. And until I started seeing and recognizing it, I didn't even know I was capable of teaching art at Calvita Forest, but we're running out of time.
Right, and she is, and we're going to have her on again to talk about that, because she is very good at art therapy. She has great ideas in it. We have discussed a little bit of that. We're going to have her in at the studio doing a little bit of stuff here and there.
Absolutely.
She didn't even mention that she's a massage therapist in there, so we're going to put all of her contact information everywhere so that you can reach her. We'll do some more about Connect and Cre8. We need to get you on where, if the Lord wants, that's what we talk about. If not, we'll have another good testimony, because I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it. So thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm so excited to see where this goes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're definitely partners.
Absolutely. If
sisters.
Somebody looks you up, how are they going to find you easily?
On Facebook, you can find Connect and Cre8 at Connect and Cre8, and it's spelled C-R-E, the number 8.
Yes.
And that's how you can find it. On Facebook, you can also find me under Amy Elizabeth Oliver.
All right, and so we will, again, link her in all of our profiles and stuff, and so you can get a hold of her. But I can't wait till we can have another conversation. I mean, we're going to have plenty offline, but I like to have them online, too. Like I said, anytime we can make Ryan laugh, we're doing good.
How many times do we get him? Like 3 or 4?
It's been constant, pretty much, especially when we talk about our Rickies.
Poor guys.
That's
I say blessed.
God stuck us in Ryan's life too, and he still don't know what hit him either.
I didn't even say anything, and I said, "Are we?" And he said, "Yes." We were walking up the stairs, so I was like, "Okay, we're in the right place."
All right, I thank you for listening today. In case you have not heard, the studio has moved off of Perry Street, so you can't be opening doors yelling. If you do, somebody might direct you to me, but it's on down the road at 3 Bullsboro Drive, which is a brick house at the back of the Hillcrest Chapel. You pass it on to the right, and it has lots of glorious space that we have all kinds of plans we're going to use this year. So God has truly been great to us this year.
Absolutely.
And blessed, and we are very thankful. This is our last Connect and Talk for the year.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're going to end our year, but then you're going to help us start it off the next one.
Oh, it's going to come out. It's going to be a huge blast.
Yeah.
It's going to blow up. It's already blowing up because it's connecting. Excuse me. It's about that connection.
Right.
And somehow everyone's lost connection, and the Lord is moving. He's moving big, and be immovable when you move for the Lord.
Absolutely. That's it. You just step out, and He will direct you and provide for you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you for listening, guys. We appreciate it.
Hi, I'm Holly Reese. I'm the founder of Warrior Defenders. I'm a certified tactical self-defense instructor, and I specialize in women's self-defense. I teach technical drills for survival skills and education on self-defense tools and how to use them. My journey started in self-defense because I'm a domestic violence survivor. I'm here to empower women, to teach them how to be their own heroes, and to learn today to have a safer tomorrow.
It's too easy, I just kill it when...
Moving is a big decision. Selling or buying a home in any market, but especially today's, can raise a lot of questions. Hi, I'm Amy with Killingsworth Realty. My husband Todd and I serve the Coweta and local area. Our purpose at our first meeting is to learn your goals, answer questions, and provide resources so that you can make the best decision for you and your family. Find us online at killingsworthrealty.com or call 678-525-0047 to schedule a free consultation today to discuss your real estate needs. You don't have to do this alone.
Hello, I'm Pina Payne with Contour Mortgage, and we're so excited. We have just moved to this new company, and we are located at 560 Noonan Crossing Bypass in Noonan next to Art and Jake's. And we have some great products. Our interest rates are better than any other companies, and we also have some great products for the VA. We can do a better deal for you with fees than any other company. We have a lot of different kind of programs.
Shopping for insurance doesn't have to be stressful. I'm Christy, owner of Ellsworth Insurance, located here in Newnan, Georgia. We are an independent agency with access to multiple carriers for home, auto, life, health, and commercial insurance. We are your one-stop shop for your insurance needs. Visit our website at www.insurewithellsworth.com or call the office at 770-755-7053 to schedule an appointment. We look forward to meeting you soon.
This is Margie from Connecting Hearts Network. I'd like you to take just a moment and listen to Linda Kirkpatrick explain to you what Family Patterns Matters is all about.
Family Patterns Matter works with youth and their families to help overcome barriers that prevent their success. We meet twice a month with mentoring, tutoring, teaching life skills, resilience, gratitude, and kindness. We also bring music and art therapy. Please visit our website at www.familypatternsmatter.org.
Thanks for tuning in to Connecting Hearts of women to resources, information, and to one another. Presented by Creative Heart Studios, 18 Perry Street, here in Noonan. 404-528-8461. Until next time, have a wonderful day. WQEE 99.
Are you one of the 1.5 million Georgians without health insurance? Visit georgiaaccess.gov to connect with the resources to find affordable private and public health care options. You may be eligible for financial assistance programs including Medicaid and Peach Care for kids. Even healthy people need coverage. An unexpected medical emergency can hurt you and your wallet. Open enrollment for health insurance plans ends January 15th, so don't wait. Visit georgiaaccess.gov today.
Mary redeemed a $50,000 cash prize playing Chumba Casino this year.
I was only playing for fun, so winning this was a dream come true.
Chumba Casino is America's #1 social casino experience. It's serious fun. With over 80 casino-style games to choose from, you too could win life-changing amounts of cash. Be like Mary. Log on to ChumbaCasino.com and give them a whirl. That's ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void or prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details. The voice in the preceding commercial was not the actual voice of a winner.